You've been there. You wake up motivated, convinced that this time will be different. You promise yourself you'll eat less, move more, and finally get rid of that stubborn belly fat. You skip breakfast, survive on caffeine, maybe even push through a full day on almost no food, all while telling yourself that suffering equals progress. Weeks go by, months even, and yet when you look in the mirror, nothing really changes. Same shape, same frustration, same feeling that your body is somehow broken. The worst part isn't even the physical exhaustion. It's the mental battle. You start blaming yourself. Maybe you're not disciplined enough. Maybe you just don't have the right genetics. Maybe abs are only for influencers, fitness models, and people who clearly don't live normal lives. That thought creeps in quietly, but once it's there, it's hard to shake. And the more you try extreme approaches, the worse it gets. Here's the truth most people never tell you. Struggling doesn't mean you're lazy or weak. It means you were taught the wrong strategy. Fat loss isn't about punishment. It's not about starving yourself, living on coffee, or doing endless cardio until you hate moving your body altogether. It's about working with your body instead of constantly fighting it. Once you understand that, everything changes. What if losing fat didn't require you to suffer every single day? What if you could eat real food, train intelligently, move efficiently, and still get leaner over time? No extreme diets. No 2-hour cardio sessions. No pretending that hunger is a badge of honor. That idea might sound unrealistic at first, especially if you've been stuck in the cycle of restriction and burnout. But it's very real, and it works for regular people with real responsibilities. The first thing you need to understand is that fat loss is not about doing more, it's about doing smarter. Many people overcomplicate the process, jumping from trend to trend, hoping the next hack will finally unlock visible ABS. In reality, there are just a few core principles that actually matter. When you apply them consistently, your body responds. Ignore them, and no amount of effort will save you. Let's start with movement, because that's where most people either overdo it or completely misunderstand it. You've probably heard the classic advice. Just walk more. Aim for 10,000 steps a day. On paper, that sounds simple. In real life, it's not always realistic. Between school, work, family, and basic human exhaustion, finding the time to walk for hours every day can feel impossible. Walking is great. It's low impact, accessible, and good for your overall health. But the idea that you must hit a huge step count every single day to lose fat is outdated. You don't need marathon-level walking just to make progress. What you need is intentional movement that challenges your body without draining all your time and energy. This is where interval walking comes in. Instead of walking at the same slow pace for an hour or more, you alternate between easy and fast walking. The concept is simple, but powerful. You walk at a relaxed pace for a few minutes, then pick up the speed and walk with purpose. Like you're late for something important, then you slow down again. This back and forth pattern pushes your heart rate up, increases calorie burn, and improves conditioning in far less time. A typical session might look like this: 3 minutes of comfortable walking, followed by 3 minutes of fast walking. You repeat that cycle several times. In about 30 minutes, you've completed a workout that challenges your cardiovascular system, burns fat efficiently, and doesn't leave you completely exhausted. No gym, no equipment. Just you and your legs doing their job. The beauty of this approach is that it fits into real life. You can do it outside, on a track, or even on a treadmill. You don't need special shoes or perfect conditions. And because it's shorter and more engaging, you're more likely to stick with it. Consistency always beats intensity when it comes to long-term results. Now let's talk about food, because this is where most frustration comes from. You might be thinking, but I eat clean. I avoid junk food. I try to make healthy choices. Why is nothing happening? The issue isn't that eating clean is bad. It's that eating clean alone doesn't guarantee fat loss. You can eat the healthiest foods in the world and still consume more energy than your body needs. Fat loss is not about food quality alone. It's about quantity. Your body loses fat when it consistently uses more energy than it takes in. That's called a calorie deficit. It doesn't mean eating as little as possible. It means eating enough, but not too much. The problem is that most people have no real idea how much they're eating, even when they think they do. Portion sizes are deceptive. Liquid calories add up quickly. Snacks don't count until they do. Without awareness, it's incredibly easy to stall progress without realizing why. This isn't about obsession or perfection, it's about clarity. Once you understand what and how much you're eating, you can make adjustments without guesswork or frustration. Instead of labeling foods as good or bad, focus on balance. Eat meals that include protein, carbohydrates, and fats. Prioritize whole foods most of the time, but don't panic if everything isn't perfect. Fat loss doesn't require you to eliminate enjoyment from your life. It requires you to be honest with yourself and consistent over time. The third and most misunderstood piece of the puzzle is muscle. Many people trying to lose fat are afraid of building muscle, especially beginners. They think lifting weights will make them bulky or slow down fat loss. In reality, muscle is one of the most powerful tools you have for changing how your body looks and functions. Here's why muscle matters. Your body burns energy just to stay alive. Every tissue in your body requires calories to maintain itself. Fat tissue requires very little energy. Muscle tissue requires significantly more. That means the more muscle you have, the more calories your body burns, even when you're resting, studying, sleeping, or doing absolutely nothing. This doesn't mean you need to become a bodybuilder or spend hours lifting weights every day. It means you should challenge your muscles regularly. Basic strength training, using your body weight, resistance bands, or weights signals your body to build and preserve muscle. When you combine that with proper nutrition and rest, your body composition starts to change. Building muscle while losing fat doesn't happen overnight. It's a slow process, but it's worth it. Over time, you may weigh the same, but look completely different. Clothes fit better. Your posture improves. You feel stronger and more confident. And yes, that layer of fat that once hid everything slowly starts to disappear. Rest is another piece people underestimate. Training hard without recovery is a recipe for burnout. Your muscles don't grow during workouts. They grow when you rest. Sleep, proper nutrition, and managing stress all play massive roles in how your body responds. Ignoring recovery is like trying to drive a car without refueling it. When you put all of this together, smart movement, controlled eating, and muscle building, you create a system that works long-term, not just for a summer, not just for a photo, but for years. You stop chasing quick fixes and start building habits that actually support your body instead of breaking it down. The real transformation isn't just physical, it's mental. You stop feeling guilty for eating. You stop punishing yourself with exercise. You gain confidence because you understand what you're doing and why it works. Progress becomes predictable instead of random, and that's incredibly empowering. This approach works for beginners and experienced people alike because it's based on how the human body actually functions. No secrets, no magic tricks, just principles applied consistently. And once you experience results from this, it becomes clear why extreme diets and endless cardio never worked in the first place. You don't need to suffer to look better. You don't need to hate your life to get leaner. You need patience, structure, and a strategy that respects your body. When you focus on progress instead of perfection, everything becomes easier to sustain. If this way of thinking helped you see fat loss differently, that's not an accident. Education is powerful. The more you understand, the less likely you are to fall for shortcuts that lead nowhere. Share this with someone who's stuck in the same cycle. You might help them more than you realize. And if you want to keep learning, improving, and building a stronger, healthier version of yourself, stay connected. Like the content, subscribe for more, and share it with people who need to hear this. Real results come from real knowledge, and now you have it.